Right, all praises unto Yahweh Hashem Shai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Honor to brothers to be pushing his truth in sincerity. So I was on YouTube, browsing some videos, and I was watching a video, pretty much on the topic I'm gonna get into right now, and that's the topic dealing with this thing of the lottery, man. And pretty much we're gonna find out within this particular video is that these lotteries are basically a form of voluntary taxation, okay, aimed at the poor. Okay, so me and the brother at the captain, about 2 weeks ago, we was talking about, the head of our camp. We was talking about how Esau basically distributes wealth amidst themselves. Okay, so if you have a program of education, okay, so you have the funds go out into education, okay, but you got it to where you got dudes that live out way out there where there ain't no jobs, they got all types of money. Well, all of those government run programs out there, that's where the wealth that's where the money goes. Okay, it never filters down to the people, the so-called poor. And this is another example of that. So that little bit of money that they do give you, they make sure that money goes right back into their pockets, man, by way of this voluntary taxation, okay, of which is a psychological thing, because here it is, they'll have you believe that you can make £1 million off of a dollar, okay? But you got more, there's more chances of you getting hit by a hurricane than you winning the lottery, okay? But they sell you the dream, and really it's the epiphany of American society. Here it is, you get sold the dream, okay? You get encapsulated by that dream, and ultimately that dream turns out to be a right old nightmare. Because here it is, you're thinking that they're offering you something to where you can escape the curses as pursuant to the book of Deuteronomy 28th chapter on the 68th verse. Okay, this is going to be your ticket out, quite literally. But really, it's just another form of taxation to the end. The American people, when we go to this one, this particular, was it this one? To the end, you see the American spending, okay, this is in 2014, so you can only imagine numbers have gone higher than that. Okay, the actual what you call disposable income and what you dispose it on. Well, you found out the lottery is way higher than anything else. Okay, ranking it at 70 billion of 2014's disposable spend in the United States. Okay, so I suppose this is as any good article of the articles I got in front of us to start off with. So it says that the lottery is a tax, all right, and an inefficient, regressive, and exploitative tax. And why is it exploitative? Because what you find out is it's not Esau that's out there, with the mansions or with the nice, so-called nice cars, living Edomite dream out here. Okay, because this is his kingdom. It ain't him that's spending the money on the tickets. Okay, it's you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans that are bought into that. Okay, and if you think about your grandma, your auntie, your sister, what do they spend their money on every week? That damn lot, them damn lot. I'm not saying don't do it, but you should be able to see right now that it's all a game, man. Okay, it's all a game that these elites play on you, and they play on your emotions to want to get out of the society that you're in. Now, here it is, you've been given the opportunity by way of the Most High setting up great millstones, coming to something of true wealth. Okay, that is not a scam, that is not an exploitative tax. Okay, right? But you ever spend your money on that which is I believe the scripture says, why you spend money on that which ain't gonna profit you, man? You're supposed to invest within this truth, and ultimately we find out is you ain't gonna exploit. Brothers ain't trying to exploit you. Here it is, you got it to where people are saying GMS is bums. Okay, people are saying GMS is using, the apostles are using dudes to rip them off of their money, but nobody's bringing this out. Okay, nobody's bringing this out except for the people at GMS that actually Esau's the one that exploiting you, man. You're supposed to pay your 10% to the elders of Great Millstone, but see, Esau's taking 70 billion out of your so-called disposable income, and then that's not coming from the Highlander. That ain't coming from them Edomites out there. Okay, that's coming from you Jake's pockets, man. You're spending more on it than sports tickets. So that's NFL, right? NBA. okay, etc., etc. You spent like 3 times as much on that. So 3 times as much money is made out there in terms of sports tickets. So Stephen Curry can have his nice house and that. Okay, 3 times as much as that was spent on lottery tickets, man. And they're telling you, hey, it was an exploitative tax because you ain't ever gonna make the kind of money that you think you're gonna make from them tickets. So it says in 2014, Americans spent 70 billion on lottery tickets. When I read this fact last Monday, I thought it was one of the most shocking stats that I'd ever seen. Nearly 70 billion translates to about 630 for every household in the United States. It sounds absurd, and that's because it does sound absurd. But when you really do the numbers, if they 365 days a week, okay, and you're spending £5, £7 a week, then that money soon stacks up, man. Okay, that money soon stacks up. Like they're showing here, it's just another form of taxation. Okay, having now spent a considerable time trying to figure out how much this number is even possible, I learned about the lottery and see it in a whole new light. Okay, and it says, and it turns out the entire state operated system is absurd, and that's the important thing here, because it is a state run lotteries. Okay, state run lotteries is a form of taxation. Speech given on National Coalition Against Legalized Gambling 12th annual conference. When I first started researching the state run lotteries, like many people, I never thought of lotteries in terms of tax policy. For me, the lottery conjured up images of smiling Powerball winners displaying 10 million checks on TV cameras. Occasionally, I heard lottery players suffering financial ruin and gambling addiction, and that's what you find out. Okay, like I said, you don't get into a thing of the American dream. You get into the thing of the American nightmare, and that's what you're seeing right here. Why do so many people go broke? You had certain individuals kill themselves, and say the lottery was the worst thing that's ever happened to their life, because ultimately getting rich that quickly, that don't work well for the mind, man. That don't work well for the mind. Okay, progress on a psychological level is supposed to be a steady. Okay, right now, some individuals can have it to where their mind can really understanding and get exponential growth. But even that's exponential growth. Okay, if you dead broke today and tomorrow you're a millionaire, your mind's gonna go bug. You're gonna get bugged out, man. You're gonna get bugged the hell out, man. And the same thing vice versa. If you're rich today and tomorrow you dead pissed poor broke, you're gonna bug out, man. Okay, so let's go back onto this article. It says here, I learned that in between these two extremes is less glamorous but equally important issue of lottery effects on state finance. Lotteries are fundamentally different from other gamblings in an important way. They are provided by the state and only by the state. That's the important thing. Therefore, they raise policy questions entirely separate from the issues of morality and addiction. The lottery is more than a controversial way, right, to add a little money to the state coffers. Okay, it is a tax and should be evaluated as such. When we subject it to the test of a good tax policy, it fails. We've all heard people say glibly that lotteries are tax on the poor, right? A tax on the poor who are bad at maths. even a tax on the stupid. But most people don't actually believe the lottery is a tax, and that's the crazy thing about it. That statement right there encapsulates the just how crazy the thing is. Okay, so you have a taxation right on the poor, right, who are not even good at maths. Because if you was to sit down and do the maths, you're gonna find out that you're spending this $630 USD, right? Okay, on this lottery, and you ain't gonna ever make none of that back. Okay, you ain't never gonna make that back because you're voluntarily taking up this form of taxation, and they're telling you right here. This ain't me just sitting down on my bed and say, "Ooh, I'm gonna come up with this." Okay, so it says it all started in 1612 when King James I of England created a lottery in London to aid Jamestown. okay, the first British colony in America, the colonists enthusiastically embraced England's lottery traditions and started their own, organizing both public and private lotteries. Proceeds were used for various public works, such as bridges, libraries, roads, and lighthouses. Okay, the line between public and private was often blurred, and proceeds also benefited private universities and churches. Okay, so it benefited them ultimately. We weren't benefiting the people. Even if they'll sell you this thing that is benefiting the poor and this, that, and the third, but ultimately it benefits them. Okay, because it maintains their wealth and depletes the wealth of the so-called Negro, Hispanic, and Native American community, because those are the ones that are going to be predominantly entering into these so-called lotteries, man. Okay, so let's go into this. It says disturbing facts about state lotteries. They prey on the poor, they trash the economy, and political leaders don't care because they're pocketing that cash. If you're telling me 70 billion, okay, is going into the American pot of money, okay, 70 billion, okay, just comprehend that, 70 billion, okay, all right, 3 times as much as sports tickets, okay, about 3 to 4 times as much as I'm trying to do it visually, but they got the graph at the bottom with the numbers. What am I playing at? Okay, so sports tickets is about 15 billion, and you got 70 billions worth of it. That's like 4 times, man. Okay, 4 to 5 times. Okay, books is about, ain't nobody really buying books like that when you got Amazon and etc. etc. Video games is less than that. Movie box office tickets. So when they say a movie was, earned this that an amount at the box office, well, guess what? Them lottery tickets were making a hell of a lot of more money than that, man. I don't know who's buying music still when you go to YouTube, but apparently some people are still spending, top dollar on that, and you can see that 70 billion is going out there, but see, where is it going? It ain't going out there into the Negro, Hispanic, and Native American community. Because I'll tell you one thing, man. You bring out 1 billion into the Native American, Negro, and Hispanic communities, and you see the change just like that, man. Okay, Jake will put that money to work. Okay, but the Most High didn't set it up like that, because Esau was supposed to be for our hell. And one of those hells that the Most High has used Esau to do is to deplete the so-called funds that are coming in. All right, and maintain those funds within their pockets. That's what the Most High is doing. Hey, the scripture says, "Cursed shall thou be in the field, and cursed shall thou be in the city. Cursed shall thou be in the field." Okay, you go home. You work hard. You go home. You think you're gonna get nice deal out of something. It ain't so, man. It just ain't so. Okay, so let's go to this. It says disturbing facts. Okay, so let's go to number 1. All right, legalized gambling is almost everywhere. Legalized gambling is available in every state except for Utah and Hawaii. Right, it includes state lotteries, which are in 42 states, Puerto Rico, and Washington D.C. Okay, okay. It says lotteries were illegal for most of the 20th century, but they changed in 1964 when New Hampshire, a new state without an income tax, reinstituted a state lottery. Right, because they didn't have no income tax, so they found the money, but via what? Via ways of lotteries. A lot of people don't know that. Okay, so it says the first lotteries predate the American Revolution, so they go into that. Okay, they suck billions out of the economy. Well, where do those billions go, man? They go into Esau's pockets. Okay, 2009, 50 billion was spent on state lotteries. All right, lottery tickets and video kiosks. Okay, government pocketed 17.9 billion of this total in 2010. Okay, which breaks down to 30% in profits and 8% in administrative costs. So they're making that's making a killing right there. That's making a killing. Okay, the rest. So let's say one person wins 1 billion. Okay, which is a statistical improbability. Okay, but one person wins 1 billion. They're still pocketing 16.9 or 17 rounded up billion into their pockets, 30% profit. That's money, okay? And that money ain't ever gonna see the light of the Native American, Hispanic and Native American communities, which they say the lottery is supposed to be made for, okay? It ain't gonna see it, man, okay? It says they are a tax from anti-tax politicians. So you have a certain politician that goes up into there and say, I'm against tax, I'm gonna reduce tax, but they introduce these so-called psychological tax where people think they're gonna get rich quick, and you're just gonna get hit bad, man. And that's what they're going to say within this one. They hit the poorest the hardest. Simply put, lotteries take the most. They take the most from those who can afford it the least. So this is what you call even if you go, even in certain I was speaking to a geezer, and he works in what you call it, a gambling a place. I forget the exact name for a casino. Okay, he works in a casino, and pretty much if a dude is too drunk and he gambles all his money away, the casino has to pay that money back. Okay, right? Because that's what you call taking advantage of an individual. Okay, but here it is, they're taking advantage. The government that's supposed to be governing these casinos and giving them the legislation to say, look, you ain't supposed to be taking advantage of people. This person isn't in the right state of mind to make that decision. Okay, so you got to give him his money back. They're the ones that are playing on the poorest, the hardest, man. So this man's a damn devil, man. He's a damn devil. Okay, all right. So it says there, instead of taking most able to pay the principal of the federal income tax in the U.S. So you got it to where you got a federal income tax, and they have it to where the money comes from the most money comes from the richest. But when you really look at that on a mathematical basis, and you would really got to visualize a pyramid in your mind right now, where at the bottom, the base, you got the vast majority of people, they own, $30,000 or whatever, $30,000 or whatever, just to throw a number out there. And let's say there's 10 people at the top of $1 billion. Okay, so they're gonna get the most tax at the top, and at the bottom they're gonna get, relatively speaking, the least amount of tax. But the amount of money generated from that, right, is gonna skew. It ain't gonna, it ain't really gonna equate. So you really gotta get that money from somewhere else. You gotta get that poor to pay up, so it equates, man. So they get that money by way of these lottery taxations. Okay, so it says the state leaders use the lotteries to disguise as a regressive tax that falls on the middle and even more on the poor. A study found the households which take incomes less than $13,000 spend on average $650 a year. Right, $650 a year. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. Okay, that's a good chunk of change right there. Okay, so they said that's your energy bills right there. Okay, I mean, I don't know how energy spending is out there in the U.S., but that's a good chunk of change. If you're saying someone's earning that's a good, that's nearly 1% of your pay. You're putting towards if you're on 13,000. Okay, that's really was it 0.5% of that pay. Now it might not sound like a lot, but you're doing that every single year. All right, which is about 9% of their income. Okay, sorry, 9% of their income. Tried to do maths in my head, the maths caught me out. Okay, so it says the reason people play varies, right? Mixes hopes, dreams with desperation. Poorer people see it as a slim chance to radically improve their living standards. So you playing on them emotions, man. Okay, which that's wicked as all hell. That's wicked as all hell. Okay, so all right, the communities of color, less educated, spent the most. Okay, they redistribute money up the economic ladder, which was I was talking about. Okay, most people buy tickets, win little or nothing, right? This is taking money from the poor, right? Working the lower middle classes from those that are most able to pay taxes. These billions also are diverted away from local businesses, which, with the exception of stores where the tickets were sold. Right, and this is the exact opposite of the kind of economic stimuli that a depression economy needs, or a depressed economy needs. So they're saying this economy is in a depression. Okay, you're supposed to stimulating the businesses, so you create all of these so-called jobs, but they're gonna get that money back by way of these so-called voluntary taxations, man. Okay, right, so I'm not gonna read any more of that. You can check that out for yourself. So let's see if I got any more left. I think most of those points are hit. Okay, and I think the figure that is when I was watching the video that they had mentioned was the fact that they was getting more from lottery taxation than they was getting from income taxation. Okay, I mean, if you're making 70 billion, you're making, you're on a good chunk of change right there. Okay, so I think pretty much that's all of the articles that I wanted to hit on. Hopefully that was of edification. With that, I'm gonna say, oh, praises unto Yahweh, Shemi Al-Shai. Okay, double honesty, apostles, a great millstone, right? Honestly, brothers, that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.